All right, well, welcome to the shop again. Let me show you the project that I'm working on. What I need to make are juice grooves in my cutting boards. And I've always made my juice grooves by double sided tape I would use to stick a pattern on here, and then I would follow it with my router. Here's just the router base. Follow that pattern. And it was always a real sketchy way of doing it. There wasn't much holding that router from going south on me and messing up all the work that I put into a cutting board. So I've been looking on YouTube, saw a bunch of designs. This is one that's very popular out there. And if you haven't seen it, I'll explain it to you. Basically, you just get a piece of, I'm using 3/4 inch plywood for the base. And then I made these 3/4 inch plywood guide system. And basically this bottom one, I think this is how it works. So I'd have to look at some of the YouTube videos, but this one's stationary. This one doesn't move. You put your cutting board in here. And I need to put T-tracks in here with star knobs. And so these will lock down. So that's not done yet. The parts are coming this week. But anyway, the way the system works is this one stays stationary. You put your cutting board up into this corner, mount it into this corner like this. This one will be adjustable. Let's see here. This one's adjustable this way, right? We can adjust it this way. And then this one will come down this way. And it'll lock that cutting board in there. Okay, tighten all your star knobs down onto your T-tracks. That locks it in here, and then your router now has a base to bump up against, and then you put your router in there and turn it on, and then create your juice groove by following this edge here. I think it's a lot not necessarily safer. Maybe it is safer, but I think it's more dependable. I guess it locks it in pretty good. And this distance here, it's an inch, and depending on what router you have and what base you have, that'll dictate how far this distance is. But I like that inch away. It puts my my router bit at a decent spot in here, where I like it near the edge. But the problem that I'm having here is the router bases that I have are not completely round. Okay, and here's one base right here. See how it's got this slot here? Well, if I were to bump that slot up, if I'm spinning this thing and I'm not paying attention and I get into this, it's going to screw up my juice groove. So what I need to do, what I'm working on tonight, is making a base plate, a round base plate for my router. Here's the base plate for this one. Okay. So basically what I had to do is get a 1/4 inch piece of plexiglass, double-sided tape I used. I put the blue tape on first, then I put double-sided sticky tape on the router base, and then stuck it to this. Then if you're ever in Harbor Freight, great tool to have is this center punch, transfer punch set. They're all different sizes, and they're pointed on the end. So if you want to transfer a hole, you just find the right size bit, stick it in the hole, pointy side down, tap it, and that'll center your hole for you. So I did that. I centered my holes. Okay, and then I chamfered them so the screw will fit down in there and flush. And basically now what I'm going to do is just cut this thing, take off some of the sharp edges. Then I need to make it round. So that's going to be my next step on this. But what I'm thinking of doing is mounting, square it up, cut off sharp edges, mount it, and use maybe a 1/4 inch bit, blast a hole through there with the router. That'll be centered on there, and then use that bit on the router table as a stationary, and then spin this thing and clean up all the rough edges. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'll try and video some of that as I'm going through the process. But right now, transfer punches are handy to have. So now this base plate will fit perfectly on there. And then when I put the router in there and I can blast a hole in there, that'll be centered and round. But I need to make that center and this center equal to each other. I don't know how to explain it any other way, but that's kind of what I'm working on tonight. I don't want it kittywampus where this is off center, and if you turn this thing as you're going around this, that'll move that bit right or left or in or out, and that'll mess up your edges. So this has got to be centered, and this has got to be centered. They got to be equal to with each other, if that makes any sense. But that's what I'm trying to do. This week I'll have the T-track. I got to cut the T-track, put it in the plywood, and then mount some star knobs in here and some T-bolts, and then I can make this whole thing adjustable, lock in your cutting board, and use this as a reference. You can also build different ones of these if you wanted different juice grooves, you know what I mean, in different spots. But right now 1 inch is what's going to work for me. So that's what I'm working on in the shop tonight. Thanks for watching.